So here we got a good view from the side for the swing. Now she picks the weight up, and you know how we do it, guys. Don't dangle the weight in front of you. Make sure the kettlebell is in front of you. Your feet form the bottom of the triangle, and the kettlebell forms the top of the triangle. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe stark here. Phoenix Nation's kettlebell workout was recently requested in the YouTube comment section. If you know anyone who's working with kettlebells and uses them as a staple in their content and you want my opinion and my review on them, then let me know in the comments. So let's review the exercises. They're doing 20 seconds of work with 10 seconds of rest. So here she goes with a kettlebell swing. Now she engages almost in a full squat. What I would do different is make sure you stay in a hinge, especially if you work with very light weights. If you're interested in the swing and you want to check out its variations, then check out the video right here. Another thing that I see is that she's pretty arm dominant. That means that she's moving the weight with her arms almost exclusively. That's why she's able to go into a squat. Now, if you go down in a squat like this, what happens is you won't get the actual benefit of the swing, which is a ballistic loading of your hamstrings and your posterior chain, and you won't use the power of your posterior chain to really propel the kettlebell forward because you're in a full squat. So here we got a good view from the side for the swing. Now she picks the weight up, and you know how we do it, guys. Don't dangle the weight in front of you. Make sure the kettlebell is in front of you. Your feet form the bottom of the triangle, and the kettlebell forms the top of the triangle. There's no hyperextension, so that's good. Maybe the kettlebell's a little bit too high. Because the kettlebell's actually pretty light, then you can almost flip it, or it's almost an American swing, an exercise that I'm not really fond of. So as you can see, full engagement in the squat. That's why the weight drops. And a great drill that I would advise you to do if you're always having trouble with your knee bending is put a bottle beneath you, between your legs, and when you hit the bottle with the kettlebell, you are going too deep. So stay in that hinge. And if you engage with a subtle knee bend and you engage in the hard style swing, then the weight has to be heavier because then you work with explosiveness. Kettlebell thrusters with 2 kettlebells. Let's see how she picks them up. That's what I'm really... Okay, now she's fairly strong, but she's probably also using light weights. If you propel the weights up, one thing that's very important, you want to clean the weights first and again, get them in a safe and nice rack position. If you are choosing to rack the weights like this, you probably put your shoulder in a delicate position, especially if you use heavier weights, because the weight will pull down and your shoulder has to stabilize it and work against a natural position. And that may cause impingement in your shoulder. Maybe only choose 1 kettlebell. And you can always make it harder if you use a heavier weight, but 1 kettlebell is probably a little bit safer because you have a better grip. Doubles are especially tricky for beginners, so I would always say you stick to 1 kettlebell and master it before you step up to 2. And I want to mention that I like the programming. So you do a couple of sets in the Tabata system, and then they let you rest for a full minute so you can catch a breath and you can grab a drink of water. That's great. They're giving you some great recommendations. She's engaging in some new exercises. She's doing a squat with a knee lift. I don't think the knee lift is necessary. Yes, it's variety, but I don't think it is necessary. Now, she grabs the kettlebell on the handle, which you can do. What I would rather do is, especially if you work with heavier weights, is grab the bell with your fingers on the bell itself. We call it the goblet squat grip. I believe in that way you are a little bit safer and your biceps won't give out as quickly because you will use your chest muscles as additional stabilizers. And now you can see it from the side. As you can see, when she goes down into a squat, okay, she's hinging. That's great. And it seems like she has a very long femur. That's always when you look at anthropometrics of the human being or of the person. She may have a little bit of a problem to go down into a front squat, because what she has to do is point her toes out, make sure she engages in the hinge, but she engages a little bit too much. You want to engage in the hinge with your hips first and then push your knees out and make sure your upper body is straight. Make sure weight in front of you changes the biomechanics of a squat. So then it's going to be a front squat, not a back squat like she does it here. Gorilla rows, they're awesome. I like the gorilla rows. And she's safe. She's totally safe with that exercise. And if you're having trouble to go, because she's almost only exclusively hinging. If you're exclusively hinging, we see better in the side view. Check this out. If you are exclusively hinging, that means your knees are only unlocking. This may be tough on your hamstrings if you don't have a lot of mobility. Then you can bend your knees a little bit. Another thing that also may happen is, if you're a beginner, is your lower back will start to burn immediately. That's what maybe gorilla rows are causing. And the lower back is always the weakest link in the chain. So if you feel it, make sure you drop the weights, you stand up, and you rest. Now here she's engaging in a reverse lunge, and not only do I like her technique, I also like the way that she just moves her feet to the front. She's just toe tapping, and then she goes immediately back. What this causes is her stabilizer leg, that's the right leg in this case, is always on fire. There's no resting. Now, of course, you could really stop and then just take a short breather and then go back. But she doesn't choose to do it, so that's advanced stuff, and she's really fit. And let me tell you, she's 44 years old, and she looks awesome. She's fit, she's strong, it's good stuff. Now, what you can do is just rest the leg and go back. But because they only work for 20 seconds, they want to give you a lot of bang for your buck. So I really like the way she does the reverse lunge in that case. So now she's engaging with some biceps curls. Actually, yes, you can do biceps curls with kettlebells. But the way they are built, I don't think they give you a very good biceps workout, because the weight distribution is different. A dumbbell would be much better suited. And while I believe, yes, you can do it, I would substitute this exercise with something that is more made for a kettlebell. For example, a press or a deadlift. In the end, she's engaging with some halos. Now, I would classify the halo rather a warm-up exercise, not a regular exercise that you do as a staple of your workout. Doesn't mean you cannot do it, of course. The reason why I wouldn't do it in a set of a workout is your muscles, especially if you work your upper body, are already getting some tension. They're getting some additional blood flow, and your ligaments, they start to thicken a little bit. They maybe get a little bit inflamed, which is fine if it's in a healthy level. But maybe then engaging into a halo may cause trouble in your upper body or in your shoulder, especially if your mobility isn't safe. And then you maybe ask yourself, well, why is this exercise not causing trouble? As a final exercise, she's engaging in a alternating shoulder press. And here, guys, this is the exercise that I have to critique the most, because racking the weights on top on your shoulder and your biceps may cause impingement with heavier weights. It doesn't even have to be heavy. If you don't have a lot of shoulder mobility, it may cause trouble also. So if you engage in an alternating press, always bring the kettlebell down into a solid rack rest position where you work your strongest muscles, your internal rotators, to safely rack and rest the kettlebell while the other arm goes up. I like the alternating shoulder press. I just don't like the way she's racking and resting it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it, consider subscribing if you want to see more kettlebell content. And if you're looking for a kettlebell program that builds you up from a beginner to a slowly advanced trainee in the course of about 3 months, and you maybe want to combine it with some easy to follow nutrition coaching, because maybe you want to lose weight or you want to get in shape, then check out 90 Days of Kettlebells. You'll find the link in the description. 14-day free trial included.